Hello, everyone. My name's Tim Pitts. Live over on North Bellevue Avenue. Actually, more of a question than a statement. Excuse me. There's a lot of scuttlebutt, a lot of talk, an occasional newspaper article about what's going on in here. It's still a little disappointing to me to see so few people here, but the positive is there's some. A lot of us out there in the community are just kind of wondering what's happening. We hear, percentages floated around, and much of it's rumor. My question to you is, as representatives of your wards, as I talk to people and we talk out there, your constituents, what do you want to hear from us as far as ideas? Do you like emails? Are you open to suggestions? How open are you? What would you, if you had a room full of 3,000 people here, what would you tell them to do over the course of the next 2 months? Even though this is very preliminary and is everything but the kitchen sink in it, what would you suggest?
I'll offer you my opinion.
Yeah, everybody.
I think there are some difficult and challenging choices that we have to make. We have a high level of services, but we haven't probably appropriately funded them historically, and we have to come to a fundamental understanding of what we're willing to pay for and what services we want, and then you have to pay for them. You can't be sticking the future generations and everybody else to pay for the expenses we have today. And so I think we have to have some, vigorous discussion, because there is nothing to stop us from having a, 10,000% tax increase if that's what the community wants. I don't believe the community wants that. But we have to have a discussion as to what's the services we want to pay for, and then we have to react appropriately.
And as you have these meetings scheduled, somebody like me who's relatively new, 3 years in the township, at what point in the budgeting process is it too late to come to you with ideas or questions or thoughts? If somebody shows up in January with yelling from the back of the room, it might do us all no good.
It's too late for 2011, but it's not necessarily too late for 2012.
Right. So is there in the next couple months?
No, you have. If Bob is going to if Bob's going to present a proposed budget in 2 weeks,
yeah.
The best time is to get your suggestions to him. Prior to that, that doesn't mean there isn't an opportunity to when we finally pass it, which is targeted for December 13th.
Is there any? It's a small one, but is there any concern about that being? That is Thanksgiving week, right? Just people taking vacation. I mean, it's too late now, but
what we plan to do is on November 22nd is when this is introduced.
Yeah.
It'll be posted up on the website,
okay.
So everybody will be able to have access to it 24 hours a day, to be able to look at that. And then there'll be a number of public meetings we'll also put out on the website too, as well as the scheduled board meetings of when they're going to take place to have public input on this and suggestions and ideas as well.
And now I'll stop talking, go sit down, and I do want to hear everybody's ideas, but I have to say one last thing. The ideas in that report, whether you agree with them or disagree with them, they showed I thought an amazing amount of creativity, and if every resident of this township were that creative, I think we'd be in a pretty good spot. So anyway, sorry.
Well, one of the things you have to keep in mind is that the budget is not simply a financial document, it's a political document, and it's supposed to encompass what it is that the people in this community want to see. As Kevin said, what services do you want and what are you willing to pay for them? So what I want to hear from people at the meetings that we're going to have, the special budget meetings, is what services do you want, how much are they going to cost, and how much are you willing to take on in terms of a tax increase? Because I don't see there's any way we're going to avoid a tax increase.
Right.
It's simply a matter of how much. And so that's where the politics comes in. It's people coming out and making known to the people up here what it is they want.
Gotcha.
In a clear, concise fashion, so that we have something to work with and go back to staff with. So that's really an important factor to keep in mind.
And I'd just like to emphasize one thing what Hank said, which is clear and concise. I think too often people in this room sometimes pursue agendas. I think the time has come to have just honest, frank discussions in a polite, manner with each other, recognizing we all have different viewpoints. But this is a very valuable community with people in it, and it's only through that honest, frank discussion that we can reach the right decisions. It shouldn't be people making personal attacks on people and using emotion to stir the pot. I think, again, we have to be clear and concise and just honest with each other.
Absolutely.
To say that timing-wise, for you and for any other resident who's interested in having, meaningful input into this process for this year, I would pay careful attention to the budget that is posted on the website the Friday before the 22nd. It's going to have some suggestions in there for cuts. It's going to have cuts in there. And if you feel strongly about them, or if you feel there should be more cuts, or if you feel that there should be some sort of anything in that report, in that budget that should be addressed, email the commissioners immediately. I mean,
That's the 19th.
Would it, Friday, I don't know what that is. Because that is the time. I mean, we will be having a discussion that next week and the following meeting, and probably at some other meetings, about what specifically cuts we are going to put in there. There will be cuts. So it's, we need to decide what those cuts are going to be, and the more we hear from our residents, the easier it is.
So if anyone has any earth-shattering ideas, and I'm not being sarcastic with that, I mean that, they should really get on the horse and get them to you now, at least for you to consider it, and then they really better get on their horse and read it when it comes out on the 19th, if they have anything to say about it. Otherwise, stay quiet.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.